Good morning, YouTube. It is September 5th, 2019, early Thursday morning, and the Queen is in the bed giving you an update on the Epstein scenario, shenanigans, rather. Let me start off by saying that there have been 1,000 people connected to him in an address book. Associates, people, friends, whomever. We'll get back to that later. Um, a trove of court records have numerous names in documents, and one man has asked that his name not be revealed alongside others for fear of tarnishing their standing and their positions and yah yah yah. Okay, hundreds of people are implicated in the documents, says attorney Jeffrey Pagliuca, and he's an attorney that's involved in the litigation that's ongoing at the moment. These names are in 29 depositions, volumes of investigative records, and address book. Some of the names in the book compiled by his assistant, Jeffrey's assistant. That's what's been said. That all these people names weren't just people names that he went and got allegedly. That at the time he had assistants who maybe took people's names down. And this comment is coming from a Mr. Alfredo Rodriguez, who was a house manager for Mr. Epstein. So, go figure that. Well, Judge Loretta A. Preska wanted documents released quickly and asked lawyers to provide briefs in the upcoming weeks on the strongest ones that the public needs to see. The records are part of a 2015 defamation lawsuit filed by Epstein accuser Virginia Roberts Giuffre against Ghislaine Maxwell, Mr. Epstein's longtime confidant. 1/5 of the legal filings of this case were filed under seal. Ms. Giuffre claimed publicly in a deposition that she was coerced as a teenager into becoming a sex slave for Mr. Epstein and to provide sex services to some of his high-profile associates, professors, scientists, and politicians. Now, Prince Andrew was one of the people listed in that deposition, but Prince Andrew has denied all allegations. Okay. She settled the suit in 2017, but media and attorneys have asked that some of the information from the depositions be released. Some people feel like it shouldn't be released because of the accusers' names, once released, wouldn't have a chance to defend themselves in court once, their names have been released. So that was an issue with not, I guess, releasing the names from that deposition and that ruling in that suit. Okay. On August 9th, appellate court released 2,000 pages with lurid material of Epstein's abuse against underage girls and friends and associates. Info was released a day before he killed himself. The young lady stated in her account of what happened with her and Mr. Epstein, it said he ordered her to have sex with a hotel chain owner, a former French modeling agent, a prominent scientist, former state governor, and 2 world leaders. The appellate court ruled that the sealed documents could not be released until Judge Preska conducted a review of material to determine what could be made public. So some documents are going to be released eventually, but it's just a matter of them gathering which ones to release because there are so many to release and so much information from my understanding. Okay, so there's also a second batch to be released as well. So to get through with that, now I mentioned all that so I could tie in my point of what I really wanted to talk about in this interview. I said interview. Forgive me in this video. I'm sorry. Reading too much, you're starting to, like you're in court. Some people are thinking that there's a conspiracy with Mr. Epstein's death, that he was murdered, there was a hit put out on him, he didn't kill himself, allegedly he had broken neck bones, yah, yah, yah. Let me tell you something. I read you all that to give you what I'm trying to say, a reason why he didn't kill himself. Documents were released a day before he took his own life. And as you see from what I've repeated, that the claims that this young lady is making, they're bad. And he didn't want that information out. He knew that once the files were already released, that there's a chance that somebody's going to have to contact these people, ask them questions. They were going to have to either say yay or nay. And what are the odds that someone would go ahead and say, yeah, I messed with that young girl or this girl. He brought them to us. Woo, woo, woo. And there you go. And so you got to stand account, and you're being charged with, solicitation of a child or a minor or whomever, or using women. And then you get some people to start confirming that it's true, and they rode the ride with you. Then hell yeah, you feeling some type of way, and you're knowing, hey, I got a chance of going down for a long, long time, because that's why I believe that he did kill himself. I don't think there was no hit. I don't think nobody was that important in America that would put a hit out on him for that reason. Now, there's been commentary that he, hung around a lot of famous people, wealthy people, prominent people, Trump, the Clintons, Mr. Clinton, whatever. You all need to get off that bag of bringing the Clintons into it, that they ordered a hit. I mean, really? Let's be truthful. We already know Hillary was in politics several years back, Secretary of State, senator at one time. So why in the world do you think her husband would risk anything that tarnish his wife after the fact, after the Monica Lewinsky situation, which you've never heard anything negative about him after that, him being impeached and that situation with Monica, you never heard anything about him with any other women, ladies. I didn't. So I don't think he did anything. I don't know, because I haven't heard anything, and that's how I feel. But I'm just relaying that I don't think he and his wife put a hit out on Epstein because of what they thought was going to be in those documents that were released. Because like I said, from what this girl is reporting, a lot of well-to-do people, just as well off and prominent as the Clintons, are mentioned in the documents. So they could just as easily be named as potential people to order a hit. So stop using the Clintons as an excuse because you don't like them, okay? And a lot of you old wild, nutty conservatives, you're always looking for somebody to blame. You're always looking for a liberal or a Democrat to blame. But anytime something goes wrong, I just get sick of hearing it. It's like, grow up. How old are you? This man was foul. He has a criminal record for abusing a child, a friend's daughter, stepdaughter. He abused. He pled guilty. Okay? He paid them off. There was a suit, I think, with that. So he was a sexual offender on a register before he killed himself. Okay? He did time on the weekends until his time was dissipated or whatever. He did time. They were so ignorant with that, letting him go to jail for a day or two on the weekends. Yeah, they let him work from home or whatever, go to work through the week, and then on the weekends, he did his time. So he pled guilty to a case with a young girl years ago. So for you all to act like he's some innocent guy who got a murder hit on him in jail, I mean, you know what? Come on, give me a break. Give me a break. Now, as far as this young lady, her age, how old she was at the time when she was performing these acts for him, with him, and his associates, I'm not sure. I'm assuming 19, but I don't want to be quoted in saying that was her age. But I will say this. If she went in the first time, messed with him, he invited some friends along, and then was like, hey, do this for them, they'll pay you, woo, woo, woo. Let's say she went along the first time, okay, I give you a pass. Second time, third, no. Don't go back. Don't go back. Because if you're over the age of 18, you have the right to say, hey, I'm not down with this. I don't like this. Don't call me woo, woo, woo. Now, if she was underage and somehow he had access to her to do some stuff, then yeah, he's foul, liable. But over 18 and you willingly went back and forth with him, meeting with him and jumping on planes and hotel rooms and resorts or whatever to turn these tricks or whatever with these men, that was a choice. Because like I said, if he was not raising her as a child, you can't even claim Stockholm Syndrome. But like I said, I'll wait to see what is released, what evidence they actually have. But you know, she did file a defamation suit against that Maxwell lady. And I don't know much about that, but they are linking her as the procurer of his deeds with the Jeffrey lady and the procurer probably of other women. So, you know, I looked that word up because it's got a lot of definitions. Basically, it's she's the hookup for him getting prostitutes. That was one of the definitions on Google. So, she's a mean girl. So, she's a madam. She was also linked to being his lover, too. So, Epstein was rough. That's all I got to say. And let me also say that people have committed suicide for less things than being accused of rape, sexual assault. People, men, women, have been accused of fraud, stealing people's money, and they've killed themselves. And you've seen this time and time again of people taking their own lives because they have been found out doing misdeeds. So why are you all thinking he was murdered? Why couldn't it be he knew what was in those documents? He knew what he did to that girl or the acts he did with her and others. And he didn't want to go through that again. He didn't want to have to go to court. He didn't want to have to be hiring lawyers and always having to show up to court to hear this claim and that claim. Because you always know that when one little duck comes out of the water talking about you did this to me, surely there will be more ducks. That's how it is. It's just like the R. Kelly situation. One gets to talking, here comes another one got a claim. Now another one got a claim. Now Pookie got a claim. Ray Ray got a claim. Lakeisha got a claim. Everybody got a story to tell. But see, I always have said this. When you are doing wrong, you should surely know more bad is going to surface. Even if it is not true. Even if it's a lie, half a lie. There's going to be more drama. Because you were doing wrong in the first place. So, who's to say what's truth and not? Because you was out there doing filth in the first place. You think some other people won't jump on the bandwagon to get their 5 minutes of fame? They will. People been doing it for years. But if you're known to be out here soliciting children for sex, let me say this. I don't really care that Susie and Mary decided to jump on the bandwagon. I really don't, because I feel like this. Maybe that's what it's going to take you down. A little white lie. Sad to say, but it's true. Because these men have been getting away with this type of behavior for years. And it's time for it to stop. It's time for the human trafficking to stop. It's time for people to stop men using children for sex objects. It's time for it to stop. It's time for you all to stop using women in general. Now, some women may go along with it. And use their bodies for money or whatever. That's their choice. But when it comes to children, underage girls, you don't have no right. And you need to pay the piper. Give me your commentary. I look forward to hearing from you. And thanks again for listening. Bye-bye.